Hi everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot. I'm Denise, and this reading will be for Friday, October 1st, 2021, and I'm using the Shaman's Dream Oracle. And as always, I'm looking for a timeless message to help us heal our souls. And then also a short reminder that starting next week, well, I'll have the readings go from Sunday to Saturday, and I'll just be doing weeklies, but they'll be more in depth. And if you are a member, if you've subscribed, it will be ad-free. The videos will be ad-free every week for you. And that's just, for the $5 level, like $5 a month. So it's basically like just a little bit over $1 a week, and you'll get the whole week's reading with no ads. Sometimes the ads are good though. But anyway, let's get back to Friday, October 1st. Okay, this one right here, this one here. These cards are a little stiff. And this one here. Ooh, dances on one foot. The theme is a tidy house. Oh yeah, man, especially in Mercury retrograde, it's like, it's the time for redoing. And every fall, right? It's like we're swapping out the summer clothes for starting to be winter. It's starting to feel like it, at least here anyway. I'm loving the weather right now. But yeah, organizing. Now, on a spiritual level, the more organized we are, the more we have a structure to just kind of flop around in. If that makes any sense. It's kind of like preparing to study or learn something. Like the more organized you are with, like, okay, what am I going to put my notes in? How am I going to take my notes? What am I going to, how am I going to do this? Once you sit down to actually do, get inside the learning process, have your journal and you have your favorite pen, or if you decide you're going to type your notes in or transcribe, whatever, or you're going to maybe write things down and do, audio recordings, all that organizing that you do, or if you're going to redo like a pantry or cabinets or something like that, whatever tools you need to do that. If you're going to build something, whatever you're going to do, you have to organize first before you can actually do the project. And then you're going to be organizing within the project too, because you're going to work it through to find your own particular way that works best for you, depending on the project too. But it says a tidy house, but I was flashing on a tiny house, because they're all tiny houses. And how cool is that to have, a small space sometimes where, I lived in a really, really small cabin for almost 5 years. And I learned that I had to be super organized because I couldn't function if I didn't have that space. You know what I mean? You don't have spare space. You can't throw things around. You have to, everything has its spot that it has to be in, and you have to put it away when you're done with it. So it helped me get organized better. But I was always pretty organized anyway. So this card here brings in a completely different element. But when we're talking about organizing our soul substance, that happens as we heal. My goodness, I'm going to have to do a whole teaching just on this, because the short story is, I'll teach how is what I'll do. I'll go in depth and for a members only video, but the short story is that you basically shifting where life force was crosswired, going into the wrong direction. Your life force will invert itself and work against you if you haven't learned to love yourself, if you have places of trauma, even, of course, especially, absolutely, any type of trauma, wounding, whatever you want to call it, never judge yourself for it at all, ever, ever. But we do have to own it. We do have to realize that it's something that we brought in from a past life, usually, and then it gets repeated in this life. And once we own it and we work through it, because, you can imagine in your past life, it may have been something that happened when you were literally dying. And how can you totally process that through? You would bring it through into this lifetime and then have to work with it at some point when you were strong enough. So the cool thing about this card is to notice that it's the root girl. Deep down in the core of every cell in our bodies, in the nucleus of every cell in our bodies, we have that creative child. I feel like it's that really brilliant, creative inner child that always creates new life. And it doesn't have to be girl or boy. It's just, I'm flashing on all the life force here with this coloring. But as we drop into our deepest wounding, we inhabit more of our bodies. And then we do become more creative. That's just the way it works. And we do reorganize our soul substance. It is just the way it happens. You work on it. And again, I'll go deeper into it in a teaching video but for members. But you're just going to have to trust me that I've been through these processes, and I can tell you that your soul substance reorganizes in a whole new level, and you have stronger boundaries. You have a healthier view on life. You see life in a different way, where it's more where the possibilities are limitless, rather than grabbing a hold of all these old patterns, that you used to function within when you were little because it kept you safe. Well, when you break out of survival and you get into the possibilities of reorganizing your own life and reinventing yourself, then, it's a beautiful process. And then with this dances on one foot, this makes me feel like, this constantly unfurling process of stabilizing, where you open up to something new, and you're still, sometimes there's one foot in one realm and one foot in the other, and you don't know which way to go, and you're bridging the gap. You're learning to bridge the gap. Before this whole new life comes through, you're making that leap of consciousness where you can't really go back anymore. You can't go back to that place where you've disowned yourself, where you disassociated, because now you know. And once you know, it's just, it's like that Carl Jung quote that I always say, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So once you're conscious of the pain and the wounding and the trauma inside, and you've worked to heal it, now you're conscious, and that changes everything. It reorganizes your life, and you will make those leaps. You will make those leaps. And just look at the image on this card. That flower there, look at the light coming out of that. It looks like maybe some type of a lily. And look at this deity. This looks to me like, like some type of a beautiful fairy, like, the little deities, the devas that live inside of all the plants. And I'm thinking this is a butterfly of some type. It's a beautiful yellow lime green, more of a lime green here, and then the yellow flower, but I'm not sure how it's going to come through on the video. Sometimes it shifts the colors, but it's like we've got some ballerina action going on there. Just gorgeous. But yeah, the balancing act, truly. Absolutely. But look at all that light coming through. So just know that all the work that you do to own yourself, to own whatever's inside, don't judge it. There's nothing wrong with you. It doesn't make you less than anyone else. It makes you actually more of yourself when you understand all your wounding and you work through it. So just know that every time you go into a place where you didn't know yourself, sometimes it's like opening up to some pain and you're like, oh man, I didn't know that was in there. I mean, I've had that happen so many times. Like, especially something you thought you were done with, and then somebody brings it up, or somebody says something just the right way or hugs you in the right way, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was in there. So once you keep owning whatever is coming up, and you are more courageous in feeling all of your feelings, then the better it gets. The better it gets, and the more you reorganize that soul substance. But it will feel like a balancing act, like where you're going back and forth, into the cramp, into the soul, the knot in your soul, into the cramps and into the queasiness in your stomach, into the anxiety sometimes, where you have to stop and take some deep breaths. When you go into that, you will work it through, and then you will reorganize yourself inside on the inner levels, and then you will open up to this light. And then again, it's back and forth. It's back and forth. This could literally be the expansion, this can be the contraction, and this can be the stasis, where we are restabilizing. And we keep doing it until we don't need to do it anymore. And we're not done until we're done. So there's no need to ever judge it. It's ridiculous to compare yourself or judge yourself as bad or wrong or not good enough or too much or, insignificant or inadequate or, any of those negative terms that can be out there in humanity. Is just let all that stuff go and work towards the light, the inner light. Take those flashlights and shine the light into the dark places. Open the closet, right? Or, to reorganize. Look at all the lights coming out through here, too. It's gorgeous. Okay, well, that's all I have for today. Thanks, you guys. Take good care.